All right, y'all. So this is going to be my controversial take. Controversial. That means don't give me the thumbs down just because of what I'm going to say. I'm going to tell y'all what I think is about to happen. Give the thumbs up anyway, because what I'm doing is I'm not expressing to you what I want to happen. I'm expressing to you what I think is going to happen. This is a prediction. So I got my coffee. I'm not a Tampa Bay Bucks fan, but I'm not against the Bucks. So, y'all gonna see this Bucks. Hopefully that doesn't trigger anybody. So, y'all, I'm about to give you a very controversial take on what I think's about to happen with Judge Glanville. First of all, nobody get triggered. I know that everybody or practically everybody watching this video is against Glanville. I am not going to defend Glanville, okay? So don't get triggered. Give us the thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe. So what I'm doing in this video is I'm making a prediction. I am not saying what I want to happen. I'm saying what I think is going to happen. I got my coffee, got it in my Tampa Bay Bucks mug. I'm a Ravens fan, by the way, y'all, but, got the Tampa Bay Bucks mug some kind of way in this house. So here we go. I think Glanville stays. So stick around to the end of the video to find out all of the reasons I think he stays and a couple of reasons that I think he might be in trouble. But I'm just leading. I'm not going to bury the lead. I think Glanville is going to stay. What does that mean? I think in his upcoming recusal hearing, I think that Judge Krause is going to side with Glanville, and I think she's going to allow him to continue on the case. There are several reasons for this, but the very first thing I want to say is an analogy. Think about it like this. If you are a judge, no, let's not even say a judge. You are a referee, a basketball referee, a football referee, right? And you are refereeing the big game. Let's say it's the playoffs. You haven't even gotten to the finals yet. You're refereeing the big playoff games, right? And you make a controversial call. And the people are very upset with you, right? Most of the people are saying, oh, that was a terrible call. You shouldn't have done that. Everybody knows not to do that. So the league is going to have a hearing before they let you continue on with the playoffs and get maybe to the Super Bowl or the finals. They're going to have a hearing to see if they're going to remove you, right? To see if you can even continue. Who would you want to conduct the hearing? I'm going to tell you the number one person or group of people you would want to conduct your hearing are other referees who have reffed big games. They are going to be the one group of people in this entire universe who are going to understand the pressure, who are going to understand the criticism, who are going to understand everything that comes with refereeing a big game. And if there's going to be anybody who will save your hide, it's going to be them, because they're going to be thinking, man, I refereed a big game before. I made some controversial calls before. I've had people calling for me to be taken off of the big games before. And so they're going to be the ones who are most sympathetic to you. And also, what if this same group of people works with you? So now you have a couple of things going in your favor. You have people who understand your situation, people who have been in your situation, maybe even people who are actively refereeing right now, meaning this is their current job, so they are going through similar situations. Oh, and by the way, they work with you. They know you. They may care about you. They may have been to dinner parties with you. You might have gone over their house, etc. So you have that one factor. Glanville is about to be judged by the very best person in the world to judge him, which is another judge, which is somebody who goes through what he goes through. So that's one thing in his favor. Glanville has pointed out, this is going to be point number 2. Glanville, in his defense, him defending himself, mind you, I am not defending Glanville. I'm explaining his own defense of himself. Glanville points out the Adams case. Now, I mentioned this in a previous video. Glanville points out in the Adams case that the prosecutor met with the witness and the judge in an ex parte meeting without the defense. This was the subject of an appeals to the appeals court. The Adams was convicted, and they appealed based on this proper ex parte meeting. So they got the appeal. They get to appeals court and they're saying, look, Adams is convicted. And the reason Adams is convicted is because of this ex parte meeting. What did the appeals court say? The appeals court said that ex parte meeting was not wrong. So that's what everybody watching this video, and I keep saying this on all of my videos, everybody has to understand they're not going to be, they being Judge Krause and any other judge looking at Glanville's actions, his ex parte meeting. They're not looking to see, was it the right thing to do? They're just seeing, was it wrong? And not only was it wrong, but was it so wrong that we need to remove him from the case? In the Adams case, the appeals court said there was, even though there was the appearance of impropriety, there was no reversible error. So what does that mean? It means it looked bad, just like Glanville's ex parte meeting looks bad, it smells bad, it feels bad. That's what the appeals court said. Yeah, this Adams, this ex parte meeting in this Adams case, where the prosecutor, the witness met with the judge without the defense, it looks bad. But they still concluded that there was no reversible error. So this gives any judge looking at Glanville, who might even be a little sympathetic to Glanville's argument, it gives them some cover. Because they can say, yeah, in Adams, something similar happened, because this is Glanville's argument, by the way. He's presenting them, the judge, with this case. And if the judge is even a little sympathetic to Glanville, they can say, yeah, in Adams, something similar happened. And the United States Appeals Court said appearance of impropriety, but no reversible error. Okay, so that's two. Glanville has a solid case on his side, such that any judge who's hearing this recusal hearing, if they're even somewhat on Glanville's side, they can use this case. Three, the plaintiff in this case is going to have to prove that Glanville should be removed from the case. So the burden of proof is not on Glanville. He's not going to have the burden of proof that I should stay. In other words, who has to prove something? The defense, the defense, which is going to be the plaintiff. So the defense in the YSL case is the plaintiff in the Glanville removal case. And in that situation, they're going to have to prove that Glanville should be removed. So Glanville, he could get on the stand, or he could just not even take the stand. In theory, he could just not say anything. He could just not even defend himself. If the case against him is so weak that the judge is not convinced, theoretically, Glanville could just, literally sit down. He could come into the court, sit down, not say anything the whole time, and still win, because he doesn't have to prove anything. Now, he will obviously speak on his own behalf. He will give his defense. But in theory, if the case for removal is not strong enough, even if he said nothing, they wouldn't be able to remove him. So that's three. So I think all of those things are very strong in Glanville's favor. What's working against him? Let's take a sip of coffee before we continue. What's working against Glanville? I think that the fact that it seems he wanted to keep this meeting a secret is working against him. The fact that Glanville in court was not only surprised that the defense knew about this meeting, but that he seemingly overreacted when he jailed Brian Steele, when he held him in contempt, when he demanded that Brian Steele tells him exactly how he learned about the meeting, when he went after Caleb Bumpus. I think that overreaction, it could go past just the appearance of impropriety, and it does seem to go into the realm of, now you were really trying to hide this, and we don't know for how long, we don't know why, etc. Glanville, in his defense, he mentioned that there was some kind of threat on a witness, but he didn't elaborate on that. I think in his defense, he's going to have to elaborate on the threat to the witness in his defense at this recusal or removal hearing. So I definitely think the fact that he wanted to keep this whole meeting a secret and his overreaction is working against him. I think some of I also think that what actually happened during the hearing, the fact that it was primarily for the prosecution to convince the witness to testify, I think that part of Glanville's defense is he's going to say, I called the meeting so that the prosecution could explain to the witness the consequences of not testifying. Now, a lot of people are going to watch this. They're going to say, well, during the meeting, this and that. That's not the point. The point is, why did he call the meeting? He can't control what happens during the meeting. Now, it's true. Once things start going off the rails, he can end the meeting. And this is another thing against him. But when he calls the meeting, what was the purpose? The purpose was for the prosecution to explain to the witness the consequences of not testifying. That's probably valid. He just had the witness on the stand. The witness wouldn't testify. Glanville had to put him in jail. And now so over the weekend, the witness sits in jail. On Monday, he gets out of jail, and Glanville wants the witness to know, look, you have to testify. So I think we have to say it's a valid point that he would call this meeting to let the witness know all of the consequences for not testifying. In fact, we would probably be upset with Glanville if he didn't call a meeting to let the witness know the consequences of not testifying. This still does not say why the defense was not included, right? So the point of the meeting is valid. The point of leaving the defense out of the meeting, we still don't necessarily know that, because Glanville said it was an emergency. Fine. Okay. Why an emergency? As in, it's time for court. We need this witness to testify. Fine. Why wasn't the defense there? Well, there was also some kind of threat on the witness's life. Elaborate on that, please. So I think that this is also a weak spot for Glanville. I think calling the meeting makes sense. I think leaving the defense makes sense. Leaving the defense out of the meeting only makes sense if he has a credible threat on the witness life, and Glanville has not justified that yet. He has not given any substantial information about that. Does he have substantial information? Is it that just, an email, a one line in an email is enough? That kind of standard, I'm not sure. That's something that the judge who's judging this case is going to have to weigh. So another thing that I think finally is working, maybe could work for or against Glanville, just depends on how the judge sees it, is the fact that he did release the transcript, which is going to work for him. But did he release the transcript too late? He continued to have Woody on the stand, knowing that the defense was uninformed about the meeting. And in fact, Glanville held the meeting such that he wanted to keep it a secret from the defense. So Glanville will probably say, well, I released the transcript to the defense before their cross-examination. This will have given them time to prepare with the transcript for their cross-examination. So if I had given it to them any sooner, it wouldn't have mattered, right? Because the witness was on direct examination, so the defense couldn't even ask him any questions or anything like that. The defense will probably argue time is of the essence. We should have been included in the meeting. If we weren't going to be included in the meeting, we should have been notified about the meeting before Woody started to testify, so that we could be prepared, maybe with our objections, etc. They're going to find a way to stick Glanville with the fact that he kept it a secret. Glanville's going to say, no, I was preparing the transcript. I was going to tell them, but I was going to tell them when I wanted them to know, based on my own timeline. I think once you take everything and you put it all together, and I'm sure people here watching this video are probably thinking, hey, but you didn't mention this. You didn't mention that. Put it in the chat. And by the way, y'all, I'm giving you my analysis. This is a prediction. This is not, hey, I hope this happens. This is what I think is going to happen. I think Glanville's going to present his side. I think Steele and the defense in the YSL case, which is the plaintiff in the removal case against Glanville, I think they're going to present their side. And I think that the judge is going to look at all the implications of removing Glanville. I think the judge is going to probably be more sympathetic to Glanville, if for no other reason than the fact that Steele and the plaintiffs in this removal case have to prove he should be removed. And then you add on the fact that this is a judge who has likely seen this before, who knows how this kind of thing works, who maybe has been through something like this personally, or at least has had this kind of cloud over her head prior, you know, and just in her professional life, because this would be common for a judge, that people are like, I don't like you, let's get you off the case. I think once you sum it all up, the safer bet for any judge would be to say, I'm gonna deny the motion, the petition to remove Glanville, to remove this judge, unless there is indisputable evidence of corruption, indisputable evidence of major errors. And I know everybody watching this is probably saying, but there are. Okay, but there are. But what I'm trying to do is put myself in the position of predicting what I think another person will do. So my prediction is that with this first round, if it goes to Judge Krause, it doesn't, as long as it's not moved to another jurisdiction. I know that there's some motions to have it moved to another jurisdiction, so on and so forth. I'm not predicting what will happen if it goes to the Supreme Court or the appeals court and all that stuff. I'm talking about this round that's coming up, going to Judge Krause, who's on the Fulton County Court with Glanville. I think that she rules in his favor. So don't give me a thumbs down because of my prediction, y'all. Okay. I'm not expressing my desire. I'm expressing a prediction. So what do you think? Tell me what you think is going to happen. Like, try to stay away from, oh, well, this should happen. I'm not in the world of shoulds right now. I'm not in the world of I would like, I desire. I'm in the world of what do we think will happen. And in fact, everybody viewing this video, most of you all who comment and whatnot say Fulton County is corrupt. I'm not saying that. So don't pin that on me. But I get a lot of that in our comments. If Fulton County is corrupt, then you also should have some inkling or some inclination or some fear even that Glanville stays, right? I mean, that's what you would expect from what you call a corrupt judicial system. You would expect the corrupt thing to happen, or you would at least say, yeah, that's well within the possibility. So at any rate, y'all, that's my prediction. As long as it stays in Fulton County, as long as it goes forward with Judge Krause, I'm not talking about Supreme Court eventually. I'm not talking about appeals court eventually. I think Glanville stays. So give us a like, y'all. Come on. I'm telling you what, I'm giving you my best prediction. Comment, subscribe, and we'll see you for the next video. I appreciate you.